present. Klaus, are you present?
I'm here.
Okay. Tim, are you present?
Yes, I'm also here. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just checking because then we have Glenn. Is Glenn present?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And then Peter?
Affirmative.
Affirmative. And Thomas Sikora, are you present?
Affirmative.
Affirmative. Fine. Very well. This means that we can start the procedure at this point because everybody who needs to be here is present. So I'm formally opening this this meeting, and I'm very happy to be able to welcome all of you to this public oral defense of the PhD thesis with the title Steered Mixture of Experts for Image and Light Field Representation, Processing and Coding, a universal for immersive experiences of camera captured. Ruben Verhack, and this in view of obtaining the academic degree of Doctor Computer Science Engineering at Ghent University and Doctor of Engineering Science at the Technische Universität in Berlin. So Ruben has provided me with an extensive CV that I'm now going to use to introduce Ruben to you, insofar as that is still necessary. So Ruben was born in Roeselare in 1989, and he obtained his bachelor degree in information technology in 2010, and his Master of Science degree in computer science engineering, software engineering in 2012, both from Ghent University. During his studies, Ruben obtained the status of student entrepreneur in the early days of the Durf Ondernemen program, which is the entrepreneurship program at Ghent University. As a student entrepreneur, he combined studying with leading his own software consultancy company, where he developed his first image processing algorithms for companies in Belgium, in the Netherlands, and in Sweden. During his master's studies, he participated in the Erasmus Exchange program, where he joined Professor Sikora's lab for his master thesis at Technical University of Berlin in Germany. And for his thesis, he was given the challenge to rethink image representations and compression schemes from scratch using novel paradigms. Afterwards, he remained at TU Berlin, first as a researcher and later in 2013 as a PhD student, where he continued his research into novel coding methods for image modalities. And then in 2014, a dual degree PhD agreement was formed between Ruben's alma mater at Ghent University and the TU in Berlin. During his PhD studies, Ruben received several awards, amongst others a Best Poster Award, a Highly Commended Paper Award in 2015, and a Best Student Paper Award. Furthermore, Professor Sikora and his lab received the Google Faculty Award in 2016 for their joint work. Ruben remained going back and forth between both universities up until the end of his PhD. And the PhD resulted in 11 co-published conference papers, of which 8 as a first author, and 2 journal articles, of which one as a first author. Also during his PhD studies, Ruben participated in international standardization meetings of the Joint Photographic Experts Group, or JPEG, and participated in related grant challenges. And next to his PhD work, Ruben was involved in promoting science communication as an event manager and later as a co-director of TEDx Ghent. He was lucky enough to also present his work at Trinity College in Dublin, Ireland, at Google, at Mountain View in the USA, and at Netflix in Los Gatos, USA. Since May 2019, Ruben co-founded a startup, Hyperfusion.ai, where he develops advanced image analysis software for medical images. The goal there is to provide radiologists with faster and more accurate treatment response data during the treatment of cancer patients. So that is my way of introducing Ruben to you via the PhD that he, the CV that he provided. Now, as it usually does when it gets the question for dealing with a PhD thesis, the Faculty Council of the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture of Ghent University has appointed an examination board, and it has done this on the 26th of September 2019. What I will now do is I will introduce the members of this examination board to you, and I will start with myself. My name is Gert de Koolman, and I'm a former Director of Studies at the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture at University. And in that capacity, I will be the Master of Ceremonies for this meeting. My co-chair, Professor Raphael Schäfer of the Technical University of Berlin, is excused for this meeting. The members of the what we call the Faculty Reading Committee are Professor Christine Guillemot from INRIA at Rennes in France, who is also excused for this meeting. Dr. Jean-François Mack from Nokia Bell Labs in Antwerp, who is excused for this meeting. Professor Klaus Obermeier from the TU Berlin in Germany is present. Dr. Glenn van Wallendaal and Dr. Tim Wouters, both members of the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture at Ghent University. So all of these people are the members with voting rights. There are also two members of the examination committee who are ineligible to vote. They are typically the supervisors of the thesis. They are the Professors Peter Lambert and Professor Thomas Sikora. Professor Thomas Sikora is affiliated with the Technical University of Berlin, and Peter Lambert is a member of the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture at Ghent University. So these are the members of the examination board. And this board has already had ample opportunity to question the candidate on a previous occasion on Tuesday, April the 28th. And during, sorry, on Monday the 16th of March, that was. And during those that meeting, the candidate was, as I said, questioned very thoroughly during more than an hour and a half. And the result of this meeting is that the candidate was allowed to proceed to the public part of the defense unanimously and with enthusiasm. So what I'm now going to do is explain to you what is left to us for today to do. In a few moments, I'm going to ask the candidate, I'm going to ask Ruben to give us a 45-minute presentation with explaining to all of us here what he has done in his doctoral research. And we've asked him to do that in a language that is suitable for a wide audience. So this is intended to be an exercise in science communication. After those 45 minutes, I will give the members of the examination board the opportunity to ask a few more questions, typically one or two. And if it works, we'll try to make it work. I will, after that, encourage you, the members of the public who are present, to also ask a few questions. After that, we will, that is, we, the members of the examination board, will log out of this meeting and go to another room where we will have a deliberation on the results. And then shortly afterwards, we will come back to this meeting room to announce the result to all of you. So I hope this is clear, and I will now give the floor to Ruben to present his work. Ruben, you have the floor.
Okay, all right. Thank you. So I'm just going to share my slides first. Yeah, share. Okay, can everybody see my slides? Yeah, okay. So welcome everybody, and thank you for the introduction. As everybody knows, I've been working quite a couple of years on something obscure. Trying to work to like a new of cinema where you could actually would first also like to say that as a side note that I'm streaming this presentation as video. So videos that are, slides that are videos will look good, but slides that contain only text will look less good. But that's normal. Most of it are videos anyway. So also you can actually download the PhD thesis, because normally you would be handing around books now. You can download it at phd.rubenverhack.de. So I will first discuss 3D worlds and virtual worlds in general, and I will explain what the limitations are. Then I will go towards camera captured virtual reality, so that is virtual reality based on images, and I will explain what the limitations are then, and then I will present my solution that was the core of my PhD, which is kernel-based representations of images and light fields. So first, 3D worlds. So this is probably one of the first 3D worlds that was made, where you could walk around, look around. It's a predecessor of Wolfenstein 3D. The goal was to save people. This was 30 years ago. Nowadays, you have much better quality, better graphics. The worlds have become much wider. The moves you can make have become a bit more spectacular. But all of this is only possible because you had a whole team of 3D artists that model, create, and design every piece in this world. Every bus, every building, every room, table, chair is hand-made, hand-modeled, and then material properties are also added to each object. Which is very labor intensive, all of this process, but it can generate extremely nice graphics. So in general, in 3D worlds, you have enormous freedom for the user, and it can produce extremely high visual quality. But what if I would like to have a virtual representation of a real life environment? For example, what if I want to have a model of the room where I'm sitting in now? So I took 200 photos, I think, here of my girlfriend, loaded them into a program. And this is, and an algorithm will then look for the key points that are available in every image. It will look for correspondences of these points in a 3D space. That will try to estimate the geometry, and then also will do the approximation of the texturing and everything. These photos were taken with my cell phone, so this is not a professional setup, but it already has a fun effect. But if you look closer, you will see many small issues and that are typically present in 3D modeling. For example, if my flat had been on fire, it would have been very hard to model fire and smoke, etc. The reason why is this also problematic is there's a psychological aspect which is called the uncanny valley. If we look at a neutral object, we have a neutral emotion to it. But the more it starts looking like a human, the more of a positive reaction we have towards it. That's why we start liking animals, stuffed toys, cartoons, and so on. Well, we also really like looking at humans. That gives us a lot of positive emotional reactions, but something in between is really off-putting for humans because it reminds us of disease, zombies, demons, all of these things. So as a side note, this is actually why Nintendo, for example, chose to not try to completely copy or simulate or represent humans, but went more for a cartoon style because it's a bit easier, and that you could never do it 100% right anyway. And I agree with that in some extent. This is an example of the holoportation project of Microsoft, which is a really big engineering feat in which a person can be scanned in one room with 64 cameras. and then in real time be communicated towards another room, for example, be displayed. However, it still feels a little bit awkward. You could then imagine settings that have like a lot more cameras, much more structured light. And they've done these things. This is, for example, when they scanned Holocaust survivors telling their story, and like that you could then look at them from every angle while they were telling their stories. But it's just not as practical to work with. So my point that I'm trying to make here is that if you want to have like freedom in a game, maybe it's better for us to stick to photos and not try to model the 3D geometry behind a scene, because it's such an inherently difficult problem. And photos are just nicer to work with. Now, how can you do this? And this is the world of image-based virtual reality. What should we imagine in a world of that is image-based? A couple of years back, you had the mannequin challenge, for example, in which that everybody had to stand still, and then one person went around with the camera. And this is a little bit the look and feel that you would need, that you would expect from a movie that you could see in VR. You could be able to kind of walk around, look at it from different angles, and so on and so on. Oh, this is obviously a bit of an extreme example, but this is kind of where we want to go at one point. But then with moving actors, which is a whole other story. One version of image-based virtual reality that we have now, where you can walk around and look around, is actually Google Street View. This is my street. You can just kind of walk or bike in the street, look around. But the problem here is that if you look around, you will see you have this cyclist behind us, and every photo is in a different position. This is because like the images are taken at different positions each time and at different times. So you could never have a movie like this because you would need to put a 360 camera everywhere in the room or in the space that you would want to capture. I mean, that's impossible because all the cameras would be looking at each other. Luckily, there's a technology called light fields and light field rendering that give a solution to this. And this requires that you have a wall of cameras very tightly packed together. But if you have that, you can extract new viewpoints and put a virtual camera in the room. So you can put the virtual camera behind the wall or in front of the car. It can look left, it can look right. And this is only possible if the cameras are close enough to each other. Imagine here that you have this is taken with a small wall of cameras, so to say, and then a virtual camera can look at the frog from left, right, can go a bit backwards, and a bit forwards. And this is all based on images. We do not know the geometry of this frog. We do not know any of the light reflectance properties of this frog. We don't even know that we're looking at a frog. And this makes this, because of that, we sidestep a lot of the problems that exists in 3D modeling. This works as follows. I made a quick animation. So in your new virtual camera, if you want to know the color of a pixel, you put your focal plane on an object. So that object is in focus, like this car. And then you trace back that pixel, where it was in the original cameras, on your wall of cameras. And all of these cameras give you now that the pixel should be red, which makes sense because the car is in focus. This is different if the car would not be in focus, like in this example. If you put the focal plane on the bushes in the back, and we do the same thing again, we expect the camera to be out of focus, so completely blurred, as if it were with a real camera. And so you would then go back and ask basically the cameras, okay, what kind of color would you expect for this pixel on this focal plane here? Two cameras would say red. Two other cameras will say green, because if you draw the line, from that camera to the back to that point on the focal plane, they're green. So it will be a mixture of red and green. So it will be blurred there for that 1 pixel. Putting the focal plane back to the front, you then have again that if you for 1 pixel on your virtual camera and you go to your focal plane, it's basically like refocusing from the background to onto the car. If you have then the intersection on that focal point, you draw again the lines back into the original cameras and look on their images for the pixels that correspond to that. So basically you try to retrace the light rays that were present in that room. And again, here, if you would be looking at the next to the car, you would then have a pixel there. Again, because you expect here that the background is blurred, because only the car should be in focus, 2 cameras see that point as reds, and then 2 other cameras see that point in green. So this will give you again a mix between the 2 colors, which you would expect because the background should be blurred. And this allows you to have a really cool effect that you can change the focal plane in post-production. So after you've taken the photo with like a wall of cameras, you can change the focus afterwards. This is very important in cinema because at this moment this still happens mechanically. So you take the shots and then afterwards you can never change the focus again. But in this case, this is, for example, the cat of Glenn here in the audience. You can see that you can change the focal plane. You can actually do this with a lot more different camera setups, but I will be discussing this only with walls of cameras because it's a bit easier to understand. But for example, on the right, you have the camera setup of Google. You have an arc of cameras that spin around. In this way, you don't need as many cameras, but you can only capture a scene that is completely still. You cannot have a scene that is moving around because you don't have an image for every point in time. I, during my PhD, built also one of these walls of cameras, but in the cheapest way possible. So it's just wood that we laser cut it. We put mini computers on there, Raspberry Pis, and Raspberry Pi camera on the front. And all this is really cheap. One of these panels costs about €1,000 to make. And it can take, one such panel can take 9 photos. So this is 9 times me working late. And then you can see that it's 9 times me, but the image is just slightly shifted. Given this, you can already do a little bit of light field rendering. And here, the thing that is in focus nicely shifts from left to right. You can move a bit backwards, forward. You can change the focal plane. But the main thing that you see as well is that whatever that is out of focus has this kind of ghosting effect. You can see that it's like all different images that are overlaid. If we would have had a lot more cameras, this blurring effect would have been a lot nicer, but your camera would be more expensive to build. And this is software that we wrote during PhD too. Actually, and the goal I was working for in the end of 2019 was to make a whole wall of these panels to present on the public defense. But due to the corona circumstances, this was not possible. So I'm just showing you some photos and some photos of the cable mess that came along with it. So the idea is that to eventually go to completely fake walls of cameras and so that you can have or look at a scene from different angles and walk around and then have more of a sense of presence in photorealistic quality. You could then also imagine having compositions of these camera walls in which then users could walk around in these hallways and even turn left, turn right, and so on. If we think of virtual reality, we always think of these huge head-mounted displays, but you need to think of virtual worlds as anything you can kind of navigate in. As we saw in gaming, you can navigate in a 3D world with just your mouse and keyboard. But also, there's new things coming onto the market, like lenticular displays. These are TVs that, if you look at it from a different angle, you will see a different view, a different camera viewpoint. This is not the case on your television now, and this is not the case with the old 3D televisions. You would always see one camera angle. TVs like this give you a really sense of presence, because you put your eyes see something different, and if you walk around, it's like looking at a window. It's not looking at a flat surface where everything's projected to. It's like you can see through the television. It's a really cool effect, and this is also a form of virtual worlds where you can have you can choose where you stand and that you will see something different. So basically, what is the problem at this point? We've got cameras, we've got ways of showing everything, but the problem is data. This is an example of a light throw camera that was introduced a couple of years back from Light Throw. It never really came to market, but you could rent it. It had like this small wall of cameras inside this big tube, but it's actually one camera, but it has like a lot of small lenses in there, so that it kind of mimics having a lot of small cameras in one big camera. This allowed you to do that refocus effect that I showed, but the thing was that you needed almost a server farm to be attached to the camera, because it produced about 400 gigabytes per second. 400 gigabytes per second, if I want to put that into context, I looked up my hard drive on bol.com, which cost around 115 euros. It can store 500 gigabytes, and you can write to it 2.5 gigabytes per second. But we need 400 gigabytes per second. So what can you do then? The only thing you can do then is to write in parallel. So you need 160 hard drives in parallel, and that costs then already like 18,000 euros. And the worst thing about it is that it would already be completely full in 2.3 minutes. So you can understand that this is just worthless, and it's not a surprise that it's not really on the market anymore. So now they're shifting more towards basically Google bought them, and things got a bit secretive, but I cannot imagine that systems like this produce less data. So to give a short recap before going into my research, is that the only thing you need to remember here is that if you have a camera of walls, you can position virtual cameras behind or in front of it and turn it around, and you can simulate some hardware effects like depth of focus. That's great, but it just involves enormous amounts of data to a very problematic extent. So we've tried to look for a solution for this, and we actually thought that like maybe we should abandon some concepts that are typically present in video coding. Video coding has a history now of about approximately 30 years. That started off with JPEG in 1990, and they have brought out newer versions of these ideas to save and store images and video, but they still use the same basic concepts since then. I was born in 1989, so this is basically as old as I am. And to show this, like I actually met the inventors of JPEG here. These three guys, I met them at a JPEG conference for the event of 25 years of JPEG. and we then captured this on a JPEG. So I'll do a rundown of the basics. I won't go into details, but there's some of the issues that you need to understand, and I'll go through it quite softly. So an image is a grid of pixels. Every pixel consists of 3 numbers: the amount of red, the amount of green, and the amount of blue. Just as a painter can mix colors into a new color, your computer screen displays like a whole spectrum of colors based on these 3 basic colors. And a new iPhone camera, for example, has 12 million pixels. Video is then a sequence of images that we call frames. And video has one very, very nice property, is that time is linear. Once you know one image, you know which one should follow on that, and then you know which one should follow on that. You only need to transmit the difference to the image you saw before. And because of that, you can save a lot of data. The problem is that this method of like predicting one image from the other becomes harder in camera captured virtual reality. There's a huge number of possible frames, and in contrast to video, you do not know which frame is needed at a point, because the viewer became the director. Before, you had the director saying like, okay, now we're looking at that person, and now we're looking at that person. But two different people can look at those 2 actors in a different way. So you cannot exploit that side of video. So we thought of maybe let's just abandon the most basic building block of images and get rid of pixels and replace it with a newer thing. So whereas pixels are small, you need many, and they can represent only a single color, we introduce kernels that are bigger. They represent patches of color, and they can represent color gradients. And color gradients are a transition between 2 colors, for example, from red to dark red. To give you a little more intuition about what we mean here is that, for example, when you have this patch of or this square of pixels, one half blue, the other hand red. If you look at this from a pixel perspective, you would say blue, 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 red, 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 blue, 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 red, 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 and so on and so on. If you look at this as a human, you identify 2 patches. It's a blue part and a red part, and they have a strong border. So we represent this as such using the kernels. Kernels is a bit of an abstract given, but we visualize this by using these ellipse shapes. If you would, for example, want a softer transition between those 2 parts, you could make these kernels overlap, and then you have a soft transition from the now blue to red, but you still need only 2 kernels, only 2 kernels that overlap a bit more. As I said, kernels can actually also represent a gradient by itself, the transition between 2 colors. So for example, this left side and this right side can each be represented by a single kernel. So this patch of 256 pixels can actually be represented by these 2 colors, by these 2 kernels, sorry. And the idea is that these kernels kind of fight for dominance over when we want to show these things, we want to show pixels again on the screen. The kernels are only an internal representation, or the things you save. And I will go through an example now. Right. Yeah. Okay. So from your camera you get 32 by 32 pixels. For example, you identify where these kernels lay, and then when you want to display them again, you let them kind of fight for dominance over the area in the image, and you then let them color in that area, just like painting by the number. And then generally we want to have a small file size, we want to have fast loading, and we want high visual quality. But we only need to save the kernels, no matter how many pixels they can produce. Identifying the kernels are probably one of the hardest things in our system and how we envision it, because it's an iterative process. For example, you start here with an initial guess where you think the kernels would be, and then iteratively you refine your solution until you've converged to a solution. Then, for example, for this image, you would have a kernel representation is the thing that you save on your hard drive like this. And you need to think of this as commands that you would give to a painter, like where he should put brush strokes to paint the whole image. The more kernels you add, the more detail that you get. But the more kernels that you have, the bigger your file size becomes. Every kernel, so recap, so every kernel represents a number of pixels, is responsible for a certain area in the image or video, and it represents a color gradient. So we saw for photos, a 2D kernel represents a patch of pixels, but what about video? So you saw that the video is a sequence of images. So if we zoom in on this red square on his blue shirt, you would then see that we have 256 pixels repeating itself for 30 frames, given that he doesn't move it in that 1 second. Then we could still represent this also with only 2 kernels, but kernels that have a time dimension as well, because they represent a patch of pixel over time. A video would then look a bit like this. So you have on the bottom is the first frame that you see, on the top is the last frame that you see, and the time goes upwards. And you can see that these kernels, these cigar formed shapes, they actually illustrate patches of color and how they move over time. And I have a better example now. So you have on the left side the original, and on the right side we made a kernel representation of that video. And if you look to the background, you see that the background slowly shifts from left to right because the camera is moving the other way. If we then look at these kernels, and if we choose some and let them fight for dominance in their region, you can see that they start filling up a volume and that they still represent the background, but they represent a patch of the background in every view, and it just moves along with the motion of the wall from left to right. So you don't need to repeat yourself, even if the view changes a bit, because it can steer along the motion. So what about light fields? Light fields are these walls of cameras, and these walls of cameras allowed us to look at the frog from different angles. It captures a set of images from the same scene, but all the images are just slightly shifted. So how does this look like in pixel terms? You will have, if you zoom in again on that red square on his blue shirt, you will on the same position in every image see that it's still a blue patch and a red patch, but only shifted. But in total, you've already spent 3,800 pixels on those 2 patches. But you could still represent this with only 2 kernels. But now it becomes a little bit more tricky to visualize, so bear with me. These kernels have 4 dimensions because you have 2 dimensions because an image is 2-dimensional. And then also you have a horizontal camera movement and a vertical camera movement. So the main insight is that we want to avoid repetition of pixel data, if it is within the same image, or if it's in video when the patches of pixels are being repeated, or if it's in these walls of cameras where in each different camera viewpoint they get repeated as well. And we call these dimensions in which the kernel can stretch. For example, this is a light field captured of a bike using one of those cameras that has actually tons of tiny lenses in there, so it mimics like a tiny wall of cameras where all the views actually are super similar. They just are 1 or like 5 millimeters away in camera distance. If you then like go through all of those views from top left to right bottom, you see the movement on the left. And if you want to visualize this 4D space, this is a bit wacky, but this is just for that I need this for the next slide. Is like on the right and on the bottom, you can see how this horizontal and vertical red line, how they move when you move your head from left to right. So basically, if you look at the video on the left, you see the white background in the middle, and this moves from left to right depending on the camera angle. And this is what is being shown in these two images on the right and bottom. Anyway, in kernel representation, we can then now do these kernels in 4 dimensions. And this white background, in the background, you have this, we can represent this, this patch of white in the background that moves a little bit depending on how you move your head by a single white kernel. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but this part and this part, this is still the same kernel, and they can generate as many views as you want. It can generate views in between camera angles, which is actually a remarkable feature. Here on the right, you have the original. This has 40 million original pixels, and on the left, we can reconstruct basically the same views using only 9,000 kernels. That means that one kernel spans roughly 4,600 pixels. And here you can see where like where the real benefits start to come from the kernel representation. We zoom in on the tire of this bike. You can see that even though like we move the camera angle from left to right, the parts of the tire are being reconstructed by the same kernels, and we could even find views in between that. Why is that important? Like I showed you this before, where we could do basic light field rendering using only 9 cameras. But because with kernels that we can interpolate views, because we don't have this idea anymore of discrete pixels or cameras and certain points, we actually have infinite cameras in between all the real cameras that were on that panel. This allows us to do a lot better light field rendering, where you can go forward a lot more up until you get some artifacts, and go backwards a lot more things are in focus. This software and the video was made by Martin, who is being zoomed in at now, and who is also continuing the research on these kernel approaches. It also allows us to visualize how the scene was actually constructed by these patches of pixel data. So if we already have photo, video, and light fields, what will happen if we want to have a wall of cameras that record video and not just a single image? Then we have a combination of video and light fields. So then we have actually a bunch of images of the same person, slightly shifted and repeated every like 30 times per second. You would then have, if you zoom in on this image, on his shirt again, and you would have the same blue patch and red patch slightly shifted and repeated like how many times? 30 times per second. This would result already in 120,000 pixels, and this could still be represented by only 2 kernels, but now 5-dimensional, which is pretty hard to draw. But there we go. On the left side, you have the original, and on the right side, you have the reconstruction. I made this video in such a way that you can see the camera turn around a little bit, but yeah, the effect is minimal here. But one kernel spans 18,000 pixels in here, and here now I can show you a bit more. So if you look to this plane a little bit more from left and right, I hope it's visible through this live stream. You can see that every view is actually generated by all the same kernels. If you go through the time dimension, you can see that, for example, in the background on the right, these kernels have a long lifespan. They span and live for a large number of frames. They don't have to repeat itself. A lot of frames are being generated by the same number of kernels. So where for photos, one kernel would cover 15 pixels more or less, and like your video, one kernel starts spanning over 15,000 pixels, which is already a lot more interesting. In general, photo and video are already solved pretty well, in my opinion. But for light field and for light field video, when you want to go to these camera captured virtual reality, then I believe that the amount of pixel data just becomes too much. And we have shown in papers that we can achieve the same quality as normal video coding tools, like state of the art, where people have worked on for hundred thousands of man hours. And we, with a couple of colleagues together, we can produce something that we have the same quality, but we require 4 times less disk space for some videos. For other videos, there are sometimes small problems, especially when there's like grass and really fine texture on clothing. But this is mainly because we just not have had any time to look at it. The last image type I could think of and during my PhD were 360 photos. And this is the last one. So 360 photos, or camera takes a photo all around, and what it does then is you kind of project that sphere onto a flat image, just like when you have the world and you want to present it on a map on a piece of paper, you need to do some projection. This has some disadvantages because it will always stretch out some regions and shrink other regions, which means that you will then end up spending a lot of pixels in some areas and not enough pixels in other areas. So the projection thing is actually something you want to avoid. We've shown that by using these kernel representations instead of pixels, that you could actually just keep on operating on this on the sphere, and that you don't have to do any projection, which solves those problems. Promise you some images and colors. So this is a 360 image with a low number of kernels, and then if you add, if you use 200 kernels, you can have a 360 image in high detail and super good quality. So to wrap up, 3D graphics are currently not practical enough for representing natural scenes. Luckily, there's something called light field rendering, which allows for freedom of movement in images, but it requires extreme amounts of pixel data. So my PhD was at the idea of let's just get rid of pixels and find something, a new core building block for any image type. We have shown that it works for images, video, light fields, and light field video, which is quite remarkable because up to the date, there is no system that you can just use for video and then also use for light fields and just for images. And this means that like if you work on this system and you improve it for one type of image content, it will be improving it for images, videos, live fields, and live field videos all at the same time. Nevertheless, we still have a really long way to go. Everything is still, these are still baby steps, but we've taken up the challenge of like trying to rethink how we would just redo all of this from the ground up. And over all these years, we've shown that like we're probably onto something. So I'm very, very curious to see where this research goes in the future, even though this is hopefully last time I make a presentation about this. Okay. Thank you. Oh yeah. No. What? One thing maybe for the people that want, when you saw that I made that like a virtual room about this 3D scan of my apartment. This is open source software. You can use it. I've had a lot of fun using it. So that I would definitely recommend. Also, the TV was called from Looking Glass Factory, and these are some other sources. And you could download the PhD at phd.rubenverhack.de. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm done. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Thank you, Ruben, for a very interesting and beautiful presentation. I'm now going to give the opportunity to members of the examination committee to ask questions, and we will start the round of questions with Professor Obermeier.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for this beautiful talk. My first question is a little bit about the computational load to get this representation with the kernels.
Sorry,
do you hear me?
there's some issues with audio. Am I doing it? Are other people experiencing the same issues? Yeah. Okay. All right. Try again.
Okay, try again. Okay, so it's a question about the computational efforts to get this kernel-based representation. The first question is, if you record the live field video, can you do the coding on the fly? Related question, what do you need in order to do it maybe in real time? Can you give us an intuition, say if you have 1 hour of live field video, how long it takes to get this representation?
Okay, I think I understood the first half of the question. It's about computational complexity. Basically, how long does it take to identify these kernels? So for what I understand from the first part of the question is that at the moment we do not have a system that can do this in real time, which is the same for normal video cams. Can we ask for everybody to mute their microphones? That is not hearing? Yeah, okay. Done. So the computational complexity, so even now if you want to use normal video coding systems, real-time encoding is pretty hard. In our system, it's under rapid development. I would say 3-4 years ago, it took 4 days to encode a single image. Now we're down to a couple of minutes for an entire light field, which, and I don't know where we're going to be in 3 years. But at the moment, the computational complexity of the encoding process is still a problem, but we are also not, we're still academic research as well. If I think that if we would be able to have it in real time, I think with some delay possibly, but I don't think it's our main market where we would want to go to, because if you ask a Netflix or or YouTube, what they're interested in is that they're really not interested in how long it takes to encode. They're only interested in how fast it decodes. I hope I answered your question because I couldn't understand the second part.
Yeah, you answered the question, but the encoding issue is an issue because you showed us how big the data, how much data you get out of a live field video of the virtual reality. So you cannot store it on disk. You need to do some processing on the fly.
No. Okay, and this is the cool thing, because you saw like how close those cameras were next to each other, and then with the camera I built, that we put the cameras already much further from each other, and we've shown that like we can kind of mimic that there were cameras in between. I just think it's actually not a great idea to put the cameras that close next to each other if you can predict what the cameras would see in between. If you don't need those cameras in between, you don't need as much storage initially, but you would still want to interpolate between those camera viewpoints. And if you use a pixel-based system, you need to do this again by adding interpolation, and the kernel representation has the nice feature of having that inherently. And like that, we don't deal with compressing that data that comes out of these huge cameras. I'm just more thinking of like, we might not need that many cameras.
Okay, maybe the last question from my side. You showed these nice examples of the real light field image and the reconstruction. And due to the limited number of kernels, the reconstruction was a bit blurred, which was visible. Do you think the user at the end will accept that? And the second question, what would you have to do in order to have this kind of a high definition feeling?
Okay, so I showed you the bike. Did you see? So there were two examples. There was one where I showed the bikes in really big, and you saw it between where I said that like, oh yeah, we only need 9,000 kernels where they needed 40 million kernels. There was still a slight difference in quality, but luckily the quality degradation is perceived to be quite okay, because we've done on that exact content, we did subjective tests, and we saw that we were up par with the state of the art for mean opinion scores up to a level of 4, where they said, okay, we can still see a slight difference, but it's not bothering us. But it's harder to get to perfect quality, because like the kernels always have a bit of an averaging effect. But often the averaging effect is actually subjectively perceived well. Nevertheless, this will be for my future colleagues. We will need to find ways of coping with detailed noise and high spatial frequencies.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Professor Obermeier. We now move to Dr. Wouters.
You're still muted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, Tim, you're still muted?
Right, I unmuted him.
So you can hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. So thank you. So first of all, congratulations for the multimedia-rich presentation, which is very nice, very impressive to see, especially given the virtual format of the whole meeting. So maybe a first question that relates a bit to the previous one. You say that it's possible to interpolate in space, so that you don't need as many cameras as are currently used. Is the same true for interpolation in time? So is it possible to have fewer cameras, but also to have, for example, a moving camera that is also able to, for example, like a drone, which you could envision for later applications? Is that also a possibility? for interpolation, and which one of the two, spatial or temporal, is the most important one?
Well, the nice thing is that our system does not even know the difference between spatial or temporal sampling. So what is a cool feature in the temporal domain is that, for example, if you have this wall of cameras, you could have, for example, the middle camera operating at a high frame rate but a low spatial resolution, and the other cameras to operate on a high spatial resolution but on a low temporal resolution. And that does allow you to use less cameras or use a combination of expensive and cheap cameras, and so on.
Thank you. And then another question would be on the media presentation formats. When you look later for practical end-to-end systems. So, for example, imagine a YouTube or a Netflix. They currently offer their video over HTTP, and they have like an MPD, a media presentation file that can be consulted by the end user to see which quality they want for which segment of the video. How do you see this for your light field video content? What will be the granularity, for example? Is this per kernel, per object, per scene? How do you think such a system would be scalable? Because you indeed say that there's a lot of data in your model.
Yeah, it would be not so feasible to do that on a per kernel level, but you would group them into logical units. For example, all the kernels that you could see from one certain angle, and not load the ones that you are not physically capable of seeing in the next 5 seconds. What you can also do is, if some parts are less important, is that you send only the big kernels and not the small kernels, because we first want to see the big structures in the scene, and maybe we won't even have the time to look and notice the small details. So you first send the big ones, and then you send the small ones, because in the presentation I showed you how they kind of fight for dominance. If one kernel is not there, the other kernels will take over. And that detail will just then disappear.
Yeah, thank you. I think a lot of interesting subjects for future research are there. So thank you. That was all from my side.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up is Professor Wobbelendaal.
Okay, also from my side, congratulations with a nice presentation. I hope everybody got the essence of your work and got like the benefits of for higher dimensions. You also mentioned your imagination stopped at light field videos having 5 dimensions. And I would like to push your imagination with this question to, let's say, from a 4D light field image to a 6-dimensional spatial varying BRDF. So what I want to ask you is, imagine we shoot scenes and we want to take into account the light source. So if a light source changes position, the scene gets different lighting properties. I wondered if like the expansion you made from 2 dimensions to 4 dimensions can be pushed towards the 6-dimensional scenario that I described now.
Well, the BRDF, which describes the reflection on objects, is a completely different data, but the system itself can scale to different sorts of data, but it depends on like how the data is structured. For example, we have tried this on holographic data, which is very noisy. It doesn't work on that. If that data is like exists of segments of coherent data, like piecewise linear or piecewise linear data, then this would possibly work.
So as I envision it, it's like watching a certain scene So exactly the same scene like you showed with the train, but the moment that I move one light source, so I have two extra variables, the angle of the light source. If I move it around, my color starts to change.
Yeah, I mean that could be added, and we've thought of other things that maybe that another dimension would maybe trigger a different animation. It could add these things, but there are some requirements on how that data then would look like. It should be somewhat piecewise linear in nature.
Okay, so I was on the same. So I was assuming along the same lines. So my real question now is that if you take this 6-dimensional space and you assume that these two extra dimensions cannot be sampled that densely, like your other dimensions, you put the camera arrays with a lot of pixels on it, and sample a lot of this data. But with respect to the, let's say, the input light, you can't, so it's a lot sparser. What could you give some intuition on what would happen with the kernels? In what way they would fill up that space?
Well, if it's the question is if they would figure out the correlation between those data points. If the kernel can, because to say, for example, the light is there and the light is there, if the kernel does not realize that this sort of transition between same data, then if it does, then it will kind of linearly interpolate between that. Well, not to say linear, but it will provide some transition between that. If not, then the kernels will just hang there, and there might be empty space, but it will kind of fill it up as well. It's hard for me to to visualize this mentally at the moment.
Yeah, for me too. That's why I asked the question.
Like 4 dimension goes 5 dimensions, the 6 dimension, like it's a little bit more.
Okay, thanks already for your insight.
Thank you.
That's all from my side.
Okay, thank you. But we've now arrived at the promoters, at the supervisors of the thesis, and I'll first allow Professor Sikora to ask questions.
Gefeliciteerd, Ruben. Dat is een heel goed voortschritt. Het was een goed genoegen met u samen te werken. Ik heb een vraag.
Okay.
Soll die ook de resultaten van uw werk in JPEG-formaat zien? Did you get that?
Everything except the last sentence. So the results of the JPEG?
Well, when do we see this in JPEG as a format?
Okay. Well, it depends on if you find another motivated PhD student that goes to JPEG every 3 months. I don't think it will be. It will. I don't believe that the industry for images and video are open to drastic changes because there's just too much hardware and software already fixed on these old paradigms. But for light field video, I mean, it's a race against time. Maybe if there's enough people on this, then this could become a standard at one moment, but it will require a lot more efforts and diplomacy.
And what do you think? What kind of efforts are required to arrive there? So, what are the points, the future directives to sort of have a chance to get into such well, I would say, attractive format?
Well, I think first of all, well, we need to solve some of the underlying issues. One is, as I said, to cope with texture and high spatial frequencies like fabric and grass, which I think there are solutions for. Then the complexity needs to be tackled at the same time as that you need to figure out how to get same quality but with less kernels, which I believe is also possible, and especially like the work that from Erik and Rolf with the MSD optimization, that kind of work really goes into that. But then I think there's also going to be a need for a market, because it's fun to dream about movies where you can walk around in, but the question is if people are willing to do that. Most people like to look at movies while laying in their beds or laying in their sofa. So there's a lot of technical factors, but there's also a lot of non-technical factors to the widespread adoption of these techniques.
All right, thanks a lot.
Are you finished?
Yes.
Professor Sikora? Yeah, okay, thank you. And then finally, we come to Professor Lambert.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ruben, from my side, congratulations with your work. Of course, also with a very nice presentation today. While you've been working on a number of radical new ideas for visual content coding, so I found it a bit modest of you to say that you took baby steps in your PhD. I wouldn't call your PhD a baby step. I think it embodies a huge amount of work where you can be proud of. My fellow promoter, Professor Sikora, also asked some questions on ideas for future projects, but I already asked those questions before, and so I have ideas for future projects in my mind. So my question would not be a technical one, but rather during your PhD, I would like to know, thinking back on that period, what you thought was the most difficult part or moment of your PhD, and part two of my question, the most satisfying part of your PhD track.
I think definitely, I think my PhD went low, peaked immensely, and then had a bit of a slow ending. Definitely the slow ending is hard, and there are, in my opinion, problems in the academic world in peer review journals, and a little bit the slowness of academia goes forwards, which can be very frustrating if you don't have unlimited funding, or if every time you want to submit a journal, it takes almost 2 years before it gets published. And if you're expected to do a PhD in 4 years, it can give you a lot of stress. The beginning of my PhD was a bit harder because finding a subject is also hard, but then finding the subject and finding something that actually works, going to conferences, showing it around, the big aha eliteness, the winning an award here and there, those things I cannot deny that is really a lot of fun, and today is fun as well.
I'm glad you perceive it like that. So I will not ask any further questions. Thanks.
Thank you, Peter. So we've now reached the end of the round of questions by the members of the examination board. And at this point, since this is a public defense, I would like to really encourage members of the public who are present to also ask a few questions. So if you have a question, perhaps in the chat box, just say question, and then I can announce you. And in that case, when you have a question, please unmute your microphone and go ahead. And please do not hesitate. Okay. Didier Koller has a question. Please go ahead, Didier.
Yes. If I understand well, if you have such a wall of cameras, you have multiple dimensions that you collapse, let's say, in these kernels. So to encode these kernels, you cannot do that in the individual cameras, am I right? So you have to send all the pixel data over the network to a central point where you correlate all those streams, or not?
Well, yeah, that's in classical light field rendering, you need to send all the image viewpoints, all the real cameras, and then you would be able to extract the virtual camera. In our system, it is the same. You would need to transmit the kernels that could give rise to those pixels of those real cameras, and then they get sampled for the virtual camera. But you might come up with a couple of tricks to circumvent that. But in my system, no tricks. I hope that answers your question.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Didier. Any other questions at this point? I'll wait a few more moments for you to muster courage. Yes, there's a few people. Let me check because I can't scroll. So the person called Ilias, can you please ask a question?
Yes. Hi, Ruben. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask what kind of information is stored in the kernel unit. How is it structured in one pixel?
Yeah. So you need to, so I couldn't tell a lot of things, but of course, storing one kernel is a bit more expensive than 1 pixel. What you need is actually one position in your coordinate space. For an image, that would be a 2D coordinates. For a video, 3D coordinates, and like for the 4D coordinates, and so on. Coordinates and a covariance matrix, which defines a spread in every dimension. So a covariance matrix, you can is symmetric, so you only need to transmit actually the half of that. But you would have for a 5D space, you would have a 5x5 covariance matrix, a 5D coordinate, and you can choose to send an extra scalar coefficient that is the weight. You can give them an extra weight.
All right, thank you.
Then we have Michiel. Can Michiel ask his question, please?
Hi, Ruben. Congratulations. I basically had the same question as Ias, but it was more about the. You were talking about that they have to fight the colors to like reconstruct the image. But I was wondering how you stored that information. But I guess you answered it with the covariance matrix.
Yeah,
or
but
any other.
Yeah, it's the covariance matrix defines like a spread, like you could say like a willingness to expand in a certain direction, and then you for every pixel you will sum up. Say I'm a pixel. There's a kernel on my right. There's a kernel to my left, and the poet say like I really want to dominate me, or like color you in, and then like I take the average color of those two then, depending on how close they are to me.
Okay, thank you.
So it's a softmax. It's a mathematical function. Softmax mathematics.
All right, that answers my question.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I have somebody called Drufena.
Yes. Hi, Ruben. Hi, everyone. Thanks a lot, Ruben. Excellent presentation. I have actually a question. When you look at your 4D light field, so it's like the video light field, right? So you encode this as a volume. So you find the orientation of your spheres or your right. And so I assume like the videos you showed were like maybe 10 seconds long. Yeah. What I'm want to ask is what happens if you now take the next part of the video, right? So let's say the next 10 seconds, because it's kind of a separate optimization. Do you expect to have some weird artifacts at the transitions, you know, that you would see weird things going on there, which could be a visual disturbance?
I think you would very much enjoy chapter 5 in my book, because that is where I discuss these problems. I used to, in the beginning, like for example, cut every 10 seconds and have a separate optimization problem. But I've also developed and published a method where you kind of, where you're not aware of these borders anymore, where you can mimic, and that it's like one big optimization process that you solve locally. So you have the 10 seconds and you will only look at like the kernels that are relevant for those pixels. But in the next, when you look at the 10 seconds, you will then look at the same kernels and ask what is relevant for these 10 frames. And they can span over these different.
Excellent, very interesting. And then maybe as a follow-up, have you tried applications like recoloring? You know, so basically by changing the colors of your kernels, if you actually don't get weird transitions, that might actually be a very efficient way of recoloring in real time, because as we know on coded video, it's not that fast.
I have tried to write that as a project proposal in the past, because I think there is a lot of opportunities in there, because it is true, because in every image modeling software or image editing software, be it like for video, for light, one question will arise, and which is, how do these pixels relate to each other? What, like, if for example, with the same idea of that you had that one person with the red square on his T-shirt, if you want to make that red square green in every frame, this gives you an opportunity to do so. Whereas otherwise, you would first need to like identify that in every next frame. And this gives you a way of doing it, but also it puts extra constraints on your problem. As like you know, you have motion vectors in video, they don't always really show you the motion, but they kind of just find the minimal mean squared error, and then you it will not per se say that that is the motion. Whereas if you really wanted to follow the motion, you would probably find a suboptimal motion vector, which does give you a trade-off in compression efficiency, but with an extra feature.
Excellent, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.
Okay, this round of questions seems to go very well. I have two more people, and then I will close the question. So let's first give the floor to Stijn de Pauw to ask his question.
Thank you, Ruben. That was a very nice presentation. A bit off topic. I was wondering if you have any advice for future PhD students in similar subjects as yours.
Think before you act. No. If you can, it's a very, I would definitely recommend. If you enjoy your thesis, definitely do it. If you don't enjoy your thesis, then it's hard. I would say one problem in the field of image coding is, and the reason why I think I spent more years on it than other people, is that the community is very traditional. You can make easy steps by taking the system that they have, improve it with 1%, and you can write 2 journals. If you start over from scratch, they will expect you to be able to be as good as the other system that you take and just change a little bit. So if you want to do it the difficult way, you can do it my way, but I would not always recommend it. But it is the most, I did find it super interesting. And yeah, there's so many things that I would say to somebody who starts a PhD in this domain. I think, and especially now with the whole even Corona quarantine, I think this will actually open up funding for PhDs in video functioning, maybe. But I do really believe that there's light fields. I would definitely go into light fields. I feel that there's a lot of possibilities there, and the solutions that we see at the moment, they don't answer the question at this moment. So I think that's like, if you want to publish fast, publish a lot, and actually have an impact, you can work on light fields, because you can see that camera manufacturers and display manufacturers are investing a lot of millions in this at the moment. So I would think that that is quite a secure position if you want to do the PhD life. But it is really fun. It is fun, and you can, probably my biggest advice for PhD students would be to take every opportunity that you can go abroad, to go to international conferences, make an international network, go to standardization committees like JPEG and all of these things, because that is actually the biggest benefits. Not the biggest benefit. You learn how you improve your thinking, but just to get outside of your own university and to learn like that.
Okay.
Was that satisfying?
Yes, that was satisfying. I've written it all down, so thank you.
Okay, and then final question by Jasper.
Yeah.
So, thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. So my question is, after this presentation, I have like a feeling of these kernels representing like, or with an approximation representing real life objects. So you see kernels moving through space and the time. Is that a valid feeling I have?
Yeah, because they represent a single source of light, or incoming light at least. And most of the time this will be from the same object. So most of the time kernels in each other's neighborhood will represent the same object. And for light fields, even the orientation in space can indicate theoretically the depth. Now, in practice, this is not always true. Sometimes kernels get spawned because it needs to fill up a hole somewhere that some object left behind. So it doesn't really correspond to an object, but more of the absence of an object. But for example, in video, you could safely assume that like one kernel will describe the same object.
Okay, thank you. And next question: would it be possible to use these kernels and some like smart algorithm, machine learning stuff for the use of object detection?
Yeah, I've tried that. But I did not know enough about the state of the art of object detection. But I believe so, because that, like I said, in light fields, because like they actually implicitly encode depth as well. So every kernel has a depth. So you could, if for example, you can imagine in a factory when you have objects passing by, you just want to know the object in the foreground, you can just say select only the kernels that have a depth like this, and then you have that. But I think it requires a lot of the kernel distribution then to be perfect and to be semantically correct, which is not always the case in practice. So I think it will be a trade-off between that feature and compression efficiency.
Yes. Okay, thank you, and congratulations on the presentation.
Yeah. Thanks, Tom.
All right, I'm going to close the discussion, close the round of questions now. What we're going to do, that is the members of the examination committee will now leave the room. We're going to discuss elsewhere the result of and deliberate on the results. And then in the foreseeable future, we will come back to this room and announce the results. Yeah, so time to relax a bit. We're going elsewhere.
Okay.
See you later.
Dat was a lot of talking.
Ruben?
Ja, ça va, ça va. De vragen waren nog wel langer dan verwacht, maar ik was wel blij dat er veel mensen kwamen. Maybe I should do this one in English. Yeah?
The questions weren't really dumbed down enough for me.
No, they were not as easy as well, it depends. Well, but yeah, they were not very dumbed down. I actually wonder if you guys understood anything of the presentation.
Yeah, those.
Yeah?
Well.
Kernels and kernels. You lost me when you went to 4 dimensions.
Yeah, definitely. I believe I was. I think I was still at dimension 5. Yeah, so the jury will typically, it takes 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
That long.
Yeah, no. I wonder why it would take longer. Because normally, we should already be closing down now.
Zo, dat kan niet. Frietjes. Of naar harder. Ja, dat friet. Die bolletjes. Hoe moet je dat eigenlijk? Frietjes, ik stel voor friet.
Abby.
Hello, Ruben.
Hey, I muted you.
Nice presentation, man.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Are you in India now?
Yep. It's 9:30 p.m.
Nice. Nice.
Goed gewerkt, Ruben. Ben trots op je, jongen.
Waar zei hij? Ik zie je niet.
Wacht, ik zal het tonen. Ik ben ermee bezig. Oei.
Net als een West.
Alsjeblieft.
Hey, dag Anouk.
Hallo, Geert, was mooi.
Ja. Was dat een grote video? Heb je dat constant gepauzeerd dan?
Nee, hooggetimed.
Echt? Dikke zot.
Wow.
Dat kwam wel super smooth door, zo zot dan.
Ja? Maar meestal, wat ik deed, is dat zo video, en die dan hangt op de laatste frame, en dan druk ik gewoon volgende slide, en dan begint een nieuwe video, die animaties en zo, dat is dan 5 slides.
Ja, nice. Sterk. Mag ik wel een pintje pakken dan?
Ja, pak maar al. Ik moet me even serieus doen, maar die gaat mee. Ik sluit aan vanaf dat de jury, of dat ik nog niet dat ik het dood ben.
Oké.
Ja.
I'll mute that. Stefan Nitschos.
Hey,
How's it going?
all good, man. You did well. Awesome.
Thanks.
I hope I get to see you in Berlin sometime soon.
Yeah, I know. After the whole Corona thing, it's because I actually still need to pick up things in Berlin.
Well, you got a place here.
Good. I will need it.
Super well done. I can't say that I understood everything completely, but I really liked it. And you tried to explain it to me for a couple of times, but I really like this presentation. Really well done.
Yeah? All right. Thanks.
For sure.
I appreciate it. Cool. I'm just going to randomly unmute people to keep conversations going.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised. I was like, oh no, did I get you?
I thought that you were not looking. Okay. Matisse.
No, why did you have to unmute me? Yes, what, Ruben? I'm listening.
Yeah. How is life in quarantine?
I guess okay. I mean, yeah, not much to do, but it's still fun.
Yeah. Did I motivate you to try to get a PhD?
Well, that's actually a really good question because that was quite complicated. So, yeah, kind of actually. Yeah.
I like the confidence.
Otherwise, good one.
Polite way to say no.
I'll annoy somebody else. Michel.
Santé.
Santé. Good question at the end. I knew I was who the secret caller was.
Ja, proficiat, goed gedaan.
Ja, merci.
Ik ben verrast. Zalig.
Ja, ik ben ook wel verrast.
Zo'n dikke koppaar, Michel.
Wat zeg je?
Zo'n dikke koppaar.
Ja, quarantainekoeken.
Misschien moet je een keer van de meeste haar naar het minste haar gaan. Kom maar. Derde dus. Mark.
Ruben, proficiat, hè. Stefan. Hoor je mij?
Wie is er aan het spreken?
Van.
Ik camera.
Hoor je mij? Ja.
Ja, nu hoor ik
proficiat, hè.
Merci.
Ja, sorry, ik heb niet perfect kunnen meevolgen, omdat we moesten werken tegelijk ook. Maar dik proficiat.
Dus achtergrond.
Heel indrukwekkend, hè.
Merci.
Ja, het was wel aangenaam achtergrondgeluid.
Ik ben blij dat ik tot dienst kon zijn.
Dik proficiat, hè.
Was jij? Ja, Siska.
Oh nee, hey.
Hoe
Ik ben daarnaast dat we aan het verdelen over 1000 dingen eigenlijk. Onder andere Charles en Koepen aan te evalueren.
Ik zal u te lijden verlossen.
Dank u.
Wie is trouwens secretaresse?
Dat is Lotte en Jeroen eigenlijk, maar ik weet niet hoe dat ik dat moet veranderen. Proficiat trouwens, Ruben.
Precies.
Ja, maar ik vroeg me af, wat gaan zij juist bespreken nu?
Of dat ik erdoor ben of niet.
Maar dat wist je dan niet al, ja toch?
Wel, voor Duitsland ben ik eruit hoor. Maar dat is eigenlijk, deze presentatie is eigenlijk deel van het examen om dokter te worden. Ja, en dat is een examen in wetenschapscommunicatie. Dus de vraag of dat goed
Ben je klaar om te poppen?
Zal wel zijn. Mag wel een keer.
Goed, duimen voor jou. Proficiat, hè?
Merci, merci. Ha, daar. Yep.
Ah, oei.
No. Does anybody know a joke?
Nog één iemand die mondmasker aan heeft. Seba.
Ah ja, Seba. Seba, je aan het opereren? Nee, lijkt niet tot hij ons doet.
Kun je dat hier op grid view zetten eigenlijk?
Ja, je kunt op grid view zetten, rechtsboven. Maar ja.
In Ubuntu ook?
Dat weet ik niet. Ik heb het hier op Windows ook staan.
Oké.
Maar het is wel veel leuker in grid view sowieso.
Ja, dat is wel een beetje.
Wij krijgen ook niet een grid view.
Nee?
Nee, maar we zitten op de internet.
Telefoon wil zeggen.
Wat is?
Op je telefoon wilde zeggen.
Nee, gewoon op de browser. We konden
Ja, dat. Zo. Dat is wel cool als je het zo ziet. Zo.
Ja, het is wel tof dat je jouw kop te zien. Nee.
Ja, dus ja, als hem nu nog niet bij zien zit, dat is
Ja.
Wat? Ja. Mieke?
Ja?
Waar is vader?
Weet je dat hij naartoe is? Proficiat.
Allee ook. Niet de volgende. Are any guys from Nu die Berlin still on here? Rolf? Who the hell have everything was alphabetical? No. He gone. Eden. Hey Eden. Nou daar.
Uw kleinste viewer is er wel ook. Uw jongste viewer.
Ah, Suzanne. Mooi. En wat vond je ervan?
Ze is wel een klein beetje slapen van, maar bon. Ik vond het heel goed. Proficiat erin.
Merci. Merci.
So Ruben, I'm back.
Hello.
Hi. I'm going to wait a little bit until I see that the other people have around. I'll call them by name in a few moments, and then we'll start the rest of the meeting. Okay. I see that Glenn is present.
How is it?
Are you? Yeah. Klaus Obermeier? Not yet. Thomas Sikora? Not yet. Peter Lambert?
Yes, I'm here.
You are present.
Tim?
Tim?
Yes, I'm here as well.
Tim is there. So Klaus Obermeier? Let me check. Yeah, you seem to be present. And Thomas Sikora?
Yes, present.
Okay, present. Right. So all of you are here, which means that we can start. So, Mr. Verhack, Ruben, if you could say a few things, then just a few things, then I can get you on the screen, because at this point I can't get you on the screen. So
hello.
Yeah, wonderful. Now I can see who I'm.
Okay.
Yeah. So, Ruben, as I typically do during these deliberation meetings, is I ask for everyone present to give a final assessment of the PhD work, of the presentation, of the questioning. And although I'm not allowed to quote anybody because there is this secret of the deliberation, I can still make a summary of what's been said. That is something that I am allowed and even encouraged to do. And I can tell you that the members in the jury want to congratulate you on a tremendous job. You have shown admirable dedication, and you've made well, first of all, a very nice PhD work, and you have topped that with a very, very beautiful and nice presentation, which has taken a lot of work and must have taken an incredible effort. So yes, you ought to be congratulated on achieving this. What I also can say is that you answered the questions very adequately, very well. And I was told about your, well, can I call it Herculean struggle with a rather conservative and perhaps traditional research community. And that, unfortunately, is something that is not entirely uncommon in science. Sometimes when you come up with new ideas, then it is not always easy to get them across. People tend to be a bit conservative in their approaches, unfortunately. Anyway, they told me that you were a perfectionist and that you did an excellent job in summary. And another thing that was evidenced is that this shows that as a researcher and as a person, you have grown. You've become quite strong as a person and as a researcher. And what people told me is that if you now, in the position that you're now in, if you look back on the past, or like at the past, and at the progress that you've made during that, it ought to make you proud. So that is proud and happy. So that is the summary of what I heard. So if this is a summary, there must have been quite a lot more, but this is a summary of what I heard. And so it is for this reason that I am extremely happy and proud that the Faculty of Engineering and Architecture and the University in Ghent University have given me the power to pronounce a few magical words at this point. There's a magic formula that I'm now allowed to pronounce, and that will completely turn your life around at this point. By just pronouncing these words, your life will change. I am now calling you Doctor of Computer Science Engineering. My congratulations, Dr. Verhack. Congratulations. Okay. Since what we typically do now, if this were not a virtual meeting, I would come over and I would congratulate you by shaking your hand. And I'm very sorry that this is not now possible. And I'm quite sure that my colleagues would like to do this, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to also congratulate you in words and with words.
Yeah. So congratulations, Ruben. Very nice piece of work. And you definitely deserve being called a doctor. I was wondering, are you now continuing in academia or in industry or both?
I founded a startup in medical image processing in CT and MRI video. So that's four-dimensional data, in which it's still quite. We are a company, but we do research as well, and we have the intention to publish as well. And I would maybe see myself go back in academia later on, but I would like to go to have some industry experience now as well.
Yeah, so that's definitely this interesting experience. I wish you good luck and all the best in the future.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Ruben, also same from my side. So congratulations with your PhD. Well deserved, in my opinion. A nice presentation. Also a nice book, which I enjoyed reading. And I'm looking forward to doing work with people from your group then on the same topic, because I think there are some interesting research lines in the future.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, also from my side, congratulations, very well done, and I'm so glad you put and kept on going. So yeah, well done, and get around.
Thanks. A couple of years.
I think it's now my turn. Dr. Verhack, give me 5. It has been great working with you as I try to express in a different, strange language. I think we got to know each other well. You've spent many years in Berlin and studying in Berlin, doing your master thesis, and it was great to see you growing, to see you as a researcher, as an engineer or computer scientist, and as a person, I think, and through ups and downs and a little bit of soul searching on the way, I think. That is an excellent work. I think I said that several times. That makes us very proud. It makes us very proud as professors when graduation like this is finished and you can then start to do something else. I wish you all the best. And just before we leave later on here, maybe next week or something like that, I see you in a private video session.
Okay.
A little bit of a chat. All the best.
Okay, we can do that for sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, Ruben, I guess I'm last in the road to shake your virtual hand. Let's do a virtual or something, I don't know, something like that. While I would say I would express all my appreciation and just congratulations, a very big congratulations. Everything that has been said by my colleagues is true, and I concur with that. So also, you made me proud as a promoter. Very glad to have had you in our group, and I'm sure that your work has laid the basis for a number of other researchers to continue in your footsteps. So congratulations for that. Be proud, I would say, and I'm sure we'll keep in touch. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Ruben, there's a few things I still have to say, but before I start, and then the final word is yours, but before I start, I had a special request from somebody in the audience who you know well. He also wanted to say a few things. Martin, it is now your turn.
Thank you very much. Yes, Ruben, I wanted to take this opportunity to personally thank you for laying the foundations of both our works to provide a smooth path into my PhD, because you mentioned that starting a PhD is hard, and you made it really easy for me. And I wanted to especially say thank you for that, because you're a wonderful colleague and a wonderful person. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so after this, it's my turn now. I still have to do a few things. First of all, I have to tell you about your duties and your privileges as a new and very fresh doctor of Ohio University. Your duties are quite simple. We expect you to be a worthy ambassador of our faculty and of our university, and to do honor to the values and the ideals that our university stands for. The privileges are used to be many. The title of doctor goes back to the privileges of the higher clergy, and they were many. Although it's quite difficult to find examples of types of privileges that we did have. One example that I was able to find is that as doctors, we in the early days, we were allowed to pay for our own food if we were sent to prison. That was a privilege because we were that made sure that the food was edible. So that was we no longer have that privilege, unfortunately. But another privilege I think I've already mentioned. You are now allowed, in fact encouraged, and perhaps even forced to use a title of doctor rather than Mr. You're no longer Mr. Verhack, you're now called Dr. Verhack. So let no one call you Mr. Verhack anymore. That is one thing. And then there is another privilege that before the times of COVID, I was allowed to present you with the doctoral cap. I'm sure that you will be sent the doctoral cap, and it is a pity that I can no longer place it on your head at this point. But please, if we're allowed to come out again and we meet, make sure that you have your hat with you, and I will be so proud to be able to give you that and to perform that ceremony.
I will have it with me at all times.
It was wonderful. You're also allowed to wear it at all times, by the way. Yes. So yeah, let me congratulate you again in my name on the title and on what you've achieved. It's been wonderful. And then, as a the final stage in this meeting, you have the final words. So. Please, Ruben.
I forgot about this part. I would like to thank everybody, especially Professor Sikora, for all like the patience and wisdom and sharing his network, and for the start of this whole PhD. And then I would definitely like to thank Peter Lambert for helping me finish this PhD, which was definitely a lot of one of the hardest parts. And then normally I would say we can do steps now, but I would just continue thanking a couple of people. I would definitely like to thank my family. Would love to thank my dad for supporting me financially through everything. To my brother, my sister, to my girlfriends, to Michelle, to my good friends in Berlin, to all my good colleagues in Berlin and good colleagues in Ghent, and obviously the best family-in-law man could have in Villers. I know I've been extremely lucky. That's the conclusion. And I'm very, very happy and very proud of what I've done. and I couldn't have done it without all you guys.
Okay.
And so now we can start drinking, I guess.
We sure will. So with a final round of applause, I'm going to leave this meeting, and I declare this meeting for closed.
Just be careful.
I'm not right.
Grote meneer.
Dr. Verhack.
Is there a doctor in the room?
Yeah. You need, have you tried turning it on and off again? And thanks everybody for coming. I hope it shined a little light in these corona times. So yeah, people are free to leave. You can stay here for a little virtual cafe. If you have something to say, please come and do so. And
congratulations, Ben.
Just trying to get this bottle open. There we go. What? Who's that?
Congratulations.
Thank you. And the funny thing was, I always thought this would be the moment that like our families had to meet, but they postponed this. This is my father. Ah, there he is.
Is de guild weg. Oeh, daar ben ik af.
Maar look om meteen naar wie dat is.
Oké, proficiat. Ruben.
Dank u wel. Hier. Ik laat Kakava. Ja, ik He's been here as well the whole time.
Ja, ik ben het.
Dag Ruben, grote leeftijdsstap, zoontje dokter Verhack.
Ja, vader mag mij ook dokter noemen. Vanaf dit.
Zoontje dokter Verhack.
Ja, mooi. Hij is ook een volgen.
Hoe zeker nu?
Ja, ik ben vooral uitgebabbeld eigenlijk. Maar mijn keel is zo... Ja, lijkt dik.
Dat was ook de eerste keer.
Ja, nee, was spoelen. Ik ging het om te volgen. Papa.
Wat?
Ging het om te volgen?
Ja, heel goed. Ik heb alles goed gezien. Hier een dagstukken dat ik niet verstond, maar dat is wel logisch.
Het was niet altijd even simpel om dat... om het uitgedeeld te krijgen met handen en voeten.
Ja, eindelijk.
Inderdaad, eindelijk. Dat kunnen we wel zeggen. Ik ben al 4-5 maanden weg op de universiteit.
Heb je de leuk?
Oh, sorry.
Cool.
Maar het is vrij goed uitgelegd, echt. Het was echt super helder met al die visualisaties. Dat is echt mooi.
Ja, nou dat is zo het voordeel bij ons, dat mensen een video in stond. We gaan met iemand die een doctoraat heeft, dan is iemand die moet aan het Engels.
Ja.
I'm lucky to have worked with somebody. Yeah, okay. Is it you, Baptiste? Yeah. No, like with my PhD, I'm actually very lucky that I work in images, because it gives me an opportunity to share things. But I pity people that do a PhD in physics and have to do a public defense, because I don't know how they would do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was also surprised by how many people showed up. So that was,
How many do you have? Do you have numbers?
Wie die waren voor de eten,
I saw 70. I saw 72, but thinking that a lot of people are here with 2 or more people, I think this could be 80, 90 people, which is good for public defense. In my opinion, actually, I kind of liked doing the public defense online because it was nice for me because I could invite people from Berlin. I could invite former colleagues. I mean, there were people from New York, India, US, Switzerland. I don't know where that could join now, and they are also probably sometimes people that understand the topic. That was fun. The only thing that sucks now is not to have a real reception. I couldn't put a little cap on my head. I couldn't throw it up. Those things.
I think you really explained it super well. Like both our moms, they wanted to like watch and follow, and I think even them would have like understood it, but they didn't understand how to get on WebEx. So like, they would have gotten this far. Like you explained it super well. So yeah. We can't explain WebEx, but you can explain
kernels.
Kernels.
I'm so sick of old kernels. Of the word.
Yeah.
Kernels. But I also
What's the word in Dutch?
In Dutch, I don't know, because like it was actually really bad because I did my master thesis in Berlin and then I had to do my presentation in Dutch in Belgium. I had to do that presentation in Dutch. I started and I didn't know what the word for kernel was in Dutch. And it's actually kern. Ik denk een kern. So like als like een noot een kern heeft of een petje, is een kernel is zo like een zaadje.
It's not like what you have on a maïskorf. Ik dacht dat dat een kernel was, no?
Een kernel, ja, een zaadje, zo'n kern, een kernel, een zaadje. Een kernel.
Een Rubensje kun je het noemen. Kunt u zelf die naam geven?
Ja.
Pak?
Wat?
Ja.
Oh, dat is soms even.
Ik ben toch van, ik weet niet of er gasten zijn die het best.
Allee Ruben, ik drink in op jou.
Ja. Hij staat me goed van uw pressie.
Ja. Oh, die is haar hebben.
Wat? Ah, het was Friedel. Ja, zie. En mijn metekind.
Ja, ik ga je moeten laten, want die heeft gekakt. Maar ik wil zeggen dat ik super trots ben op jou, dat je dat tegenstaan hebt. Op je presentatie en de weg ernaartoe. Tot de volgende.
Inderdaad, we zijn trots op jou. En we nu iets gaan eten. Vier het nog goed. Probeer niet te dronken te zijn.
Oh, ik ga opletten.
Allee, dokter Ruben.
Meneer vader. Oh, maar dat was hilarisch.
That little laugh at the end when he said, "Don't try to be too drunk," actually said it all, right?
Hey, ik ben trots en nu gaan we gaan eten. Maar eerst nog maar net het zien, hij heeft een longoperatie gehad nu.
Ja, is dat allemaal verlopen?
Iets minder, het ging normaal zien zo, maar respectievelijk een bolke achter zijn long weggegaan zijn, maar blijkbaar was dat bolke al door zijn long. Groeit, dus moeten zijn long plat leggen, zo'n klaplong geven, alles. Dat was zo 2-3 dagen geleden. Dus ik ben wel blij dat hij erbij kon zijn.
En dat gaat toch redelijk goed uit anders?
Omdat gelijk ook. Staat je geen, hè.
Een Verhack.
Een Verhack. Je doet graag altijd zijn rol uitnopen en toe tijdens een presentatie. Salut Sophie. Zo sneaky wegsluiten. Maar dat is Pieter. Wie is eigenlijk de Pieter? Okay. Pieter? Pieter? Nee? Oké.
Niet te veel Ruben. Niet te veel.
En wat is jullie highlight van deze PhD?
Lily in de 3D photo.
Lily in 3D. Ja.
Ja.
Nee, heel veel pogingen ondernomen.
Ja.
We eerst van, we gaan het op het balkon doen, we gaan het daar doen, we gaan het licht op verkeerd. Dus nog,
Wel werk eigenlijk.
Ja, dus is nog veel werk.
En jij een broek aan, Ruben? De vraag dat iedereen zich afstelt.
Ja, ik heb een broek aan, deze keer wel.
Ja, joepie.
Wat ik zeg, bekwaam op mijn spot. Wij zijn op mijn schoen aan te doen.
Oh, en Glenn?
Is Glenn zijn broek
Twee neusgaten.
Glenn met zijn vraag om te visualiseren.
Is that Ruby? Yes.
Ja.
Weet je al wie Pieter is?
Nee, altijd niet. Misschien Pieter Koper, dat ze nog kennen. Ja, ik zie dat Pieter vroeger ook nog eens. Godverdomme, wat is ze? Ja, de Luca. Is het een donkere kot?
Shit.
Het is Ludo. Pieter is Ludo.
Ruben, het is wel de eerste publieke verdediging dat ik een korte broek doe. Hè?
Is het effectief een korte broek?
Wat hè? Zonder schoen.
Oké. En ik kan nog zo hopen dat jullie allemaal jullie slim waren in jullie watervliegen nemen van de universiteit.
Hoe zit ik eigenlijk? Met je onderbroek of er een broek aan?
Niels kijkt in met de goede. En drinkt van het bier.
Maar het is grappig om zo iedereen in één ruimte te hebben. Zijn eigenlijk nog met Nederlandstaligen? Thijs van de Poelen. Die heb ik nog niet gehoord. Hallo, Thijs van de Poelen. Ja, wacht. Ik nu hoor nu.
Oké, proficiat hè. Zalig. Ik ken er niks van, maar ik verstond het wel, dus dat is het belangrijkste waarschijnlijk hè.
Dat is exact wat ik wil hebben.
Na al die jaren snap ik eindelijk wat je gedaan hebt de afgelopen jaren.
Nee, iedere keer op café zitten en dan iedereen vraagt zo, wat was uw dag? En dan moet ik zeggen, tuinels hè.
Ja. Maar nu snap ik het.
Eindelijk wat de tuinels zijn.
Zalig.
Mag ik niet meer op het doen?
Oei hoor. Hey.
Ja, ze was in slaap gevallen, dus ja, terug pakken. Dat is interessant.
Ga je opnieuw? Ga je daar opnieuw?
Ja, doe maar op alles.
Wees dat wel door een droge bal duwen, hè.
Dat is lief. Wie gaat het? Okay. Floris. Hey, dat Floris. Ja, het is ook Dr. Floris, is collega van Hyperfusion.ai. .ai is belangrijk. Volgens mij gewoon
Ik
een
heb al
jaar.
veel kernel mogen horen. En
Voilà.
ja, niet ook vandaag nog wat weet, maar ja, dat is voor mij ook wel goed te volgen natuurlijk. Ja. Jammer dat je je hoedje niet hebt, maar dat zal wel nog komen. Hè.
Op het, ja. Dat uitval. Al die jaren.
Kunnen we in real life ook nog een keer indringen erop?
Ja, ooit. Op kantoor.
Zal wel komen.
Zal wel komen.
Also, you're right at the source behind you. That's really convenient.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, yes, setup ever. It's like
Very easy.
You don't even seem to be editing here.
Work here forever. Actually, as soon as I go back to the office, I will make my drawer back of me like that.
Yeah, great idea.
Witte pants. En samurai.
The reception has begun at your side.
Ik mag kiezen wat ik mag eten. Eerst een boer, altijd een boer. We gaan ook een keer Bernard dus, hè. Irriteren. Ja, andere Pieter. En de micro? Bernardus? Ik kan niet spreken. Oké. Had chance. Ik ben gewoon blij dat ik er vanaf ben. Dat kan ik zijn. Ik heb wel een beetje het gevoel dat ik zo'n een talkshow zit. Jullie zijn me
Met Dr. Verhack.
Ja, inderdaad. Met Dr. Phil. Maar dan een echte titel.
Ja, in een normale receptie sta je in verschillende groepjes en nu staan we allemaal in één grote cirkel. En dat is altijd een beetje...
Ja. Common topics hebben voor iedereen. Zeg ik, Wout en Peter, wat hebben jullie gemeen? Die zijn al twee van West-Vlaanders.
Hoeveel Peters zijn er?
Nee, jij zit de enige. Dus het gaat over u. Maar Wout is van Sutskapelle.
Waar is Peter van? Peter?
Wat is Scheepskapelle?
Nee, Slijtskapelle. Slipskapelle.
Oh, nee, dat kan ik niet. Oh, nee, dat kan ik niet.
Jammer.
Ik woon in Toro.
Daar lopen ze wel in een korte broek rond.
Ja, binnen toch, ja.
Zijn er nog mensen dat ik aan elkaar moet voorstellen?
Dat is een interessant probleem, de handshaking problem.
Ja, je kan hier heel veel combinaties maken. Hè. Hoeveel breakout rooms kun je doen?
Tijd is ook niet de bedoeling. Strijden.
Ik ben een worstel.
Friet aan het eten, Ruben.
Witte pants.
Oh, massa.
Moet kunnen.
Oké, van de beste dingen die er zijn natuurlijk.
Voilà, inderdaad. Je wil wel op je receptie als je kunt kiezen. Witte pants. Sorry Pieter. En merci om te komen.
Ruben, I think you and Vasily should arrange a reception afterwards, right? Together.
Yeah, that was one thing that I would like to raise, like from within the office. Like we didn't have the time nor the possibility to arrange something. So whenever the corona measures are lifted, we will arrange like a barbecue if the weather is okay and it's not raining, of course. But we will arrange something to celebrate the both of you, of course.
Very nice. Like I've been.
Otherwise, you're not a doctor.
No, because I also raised the idea, and it was actually Lily's idea, but that there's plenty of people that did their public defense from ID Lab during Corona. It would be cool if we could do like a sort of big reception afterwards for the whole of ID Lab. Maybe even with a little ceremony where you get a little hat that your parents can sit there all proud eating an ice cream.
Somewhere in 2021.
I think Peter can answer to that.
No, I raised it, but I didn't have feedback. I think it's a good idea, but the question is how big it will be. If it's 5 people, that's okay, but if it's 20 people, 20
But
times.
This with the pens is on my own budget. I only have got a budget for a reception.
You can send me the receipt. Eh?
Okay. Ik kijk het waarschijnlijk alleen.
Yeah.
No, but in the end, I'm very happy I did it online. I mean, and not postpone it because you don't know. I think it would probably be only maybe in October or something. That would be possible otherwise.
I think it would be nice to have like, are we in English or in Dutch?
Only Azza, but Azza needs to learn Dutch, so we can do Dutch. Sorry, yeah. English then, English, but this is excused.
Well, I think it would be a nice result of the whole Corona thing, that in the future, public defenses, well, they will happen, in a real room physically, but also have a decent live streaming system behind it, and recording and so on.
Yeah.
Now it's very ad hoc. It depends on the technical skills of the candidates to have a recording or a streaming. But if it's done decently, you could include people from abroad just via a good live streaming system.
Yes.
I mean, we've been testing the WebEx screen there on Igent. If we have something similar like that, very big, in the Plateauzaal, for instance, that would work, I think.
Yeah, really great. Actually, did it work well? Because like I saw my own slides, I mean, on my own laptop, but like, was it smooth?
Yeah, the videos were actually better than during the test we did. So the motion was very fluid. Well, I was paying so much attention that I didn't check the frame rate and the resolution, so I forgot to do that. But my bandwidth usage was, let's say between 3 and 6 megabit per second download.
That's not bad.
Here it was really bad, the quality, certainly in the beginning, and I was trying to look up what the problem was. I even checked on my modem and everything else, checked on other PCs, nothing was downloading, and at the end I found out that my VPN was still on.
What? Continue.
Yeah, but I disabled it, it was totally smooth, but by the time I found it out, I was like, oh, why is it so bad?
Yeah, but your video was also dropping out all the time.
Yeah, I was looking at you, and I made a joke, and I thought again we'll think this funny, and you looked so angry, and I was like, shit, am I fucked up? Was it your VPN?
At least with the VPN, our traffic didn't pass in China.
Ruben?
Yeah?
Do you expect to record it, the presentation, or all the time?
It is being recorded at the moment still, actually. I don't know how to stop it. I think it's going to record it until it's all done. But I think because it went quite well, I will put the presentation point at least online.
Right.
What?
Right.
Okay. I thought somebody asked in English. I thought like, yeah, I did in English. Yeah, no, I'll put it on YouTube and then maybe I'll send it to the JPEG people and stuff. Because I didn't want them to be here because I thought they could maybe ask some mean questions. And I also had 100 participants, which you were luckily under. You can do a little experiment. We just hit.
We would kick their asses, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Everybody who lives in Ghent.
Well, we get very political. Imagine Suraj Ibrahimi.
Yeah.
Would be nice to have him on board.
Yeah, I'm imagining him. So go on. What else can I imagine? Do that here and then.
Imagine him
short trousers. Do that in shorts.
Do you hear me?
Abi? Yeah?
No, God forbid I'm not Abi.
Shit, that was racist probably in some way.
And it went so well till now.
Because you were the only people who had the mics unmuted. I'm sorry.
Well, congratulations. Good job. But again, I have to leave.
No worries.
Yeah.
Okay.
Enjoy.
Happy lockdown.
Good to see you. Bye.
Bye. Right.
What a normal Ruben. As I didn't only join for the reception. Lost. only joined for the reception. Virtually.
He actually, at that moment, he sent me a text like, Niels, did the reception already start or not? I was like, no, it didn't start yet. Okay, I'll wait for a few minutes then.
How's Ari? Please?
Hey, what?
How's Ari?
She's fine. You can see her?
Yeah. Just her head popping out. Hey.
Hi.
How are you liking Belgium? You're forced to stay in Belgium.
Yes, yeah.
I'm forced to stay here forever.
I'm sure how she feels.
Say the weather is good here, but
it was.
I've been here for 7 weeks.
Nice. You probably get to know the locals.
Meet everyone.
The best part was when I got sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you better now.
Yeah, I'm fine. But it was, I got sick. I had some symptoms, and then you call a doctor and say, okay, corona.
He has corona and he has to stay home for a week.
Was it corona?
We'll never know.
Maybe. Probably.
It probably was corona.
But it's okay. He stayed home for 15 days.
So you didn't go out like to any shop or whatever?
After I got sick, no.
And you didn't get sick, Ari?
No, I didn't. I was totally fine.
Yes,
but I kept my distance. I was really...
You're off.
I'm sorry. I slept on the sofa, actually.
I was cooking for him, but I slept in a separate room, and I wasn't touching him at all.
Yeah.
Keeping my distance, though.
But still.
Right. For a lot of emails. That's just. Kees van der Poelen added me on his Instagram story. Out. Okay, yeah, I'll take it. Ja, goed. Heeft iemand nog iets te vertellen?
Sorry, ik ben naast je op zoek naar eten.
Op Deliveroo?
Ja, ik kan me niet op 2 dingen tegelijkertijd concentreren.
Ik dacht tussen uw toetsenbordknoppen.
Dat zou wel kunnen ook, maar dat is niet zo gevarieerd.
Werkt dat goed, Deliveroo? Zo in Gent en zo?
Ja.
En toch, dat is echt ramp, joh. En die 1 kebabshop en een halve pizzeria, dat is het.
En een fietser op zondag, of?
Ja, en deliveries is 40 minuten, hè. Ja, kom aan. Ik kom nog van Echtegen, daar staan er 10 kilometer met de fiets.
In zo'n halve pizzeria kun je daar dan ook maar halve pizza's kopen?
Ja. Pipo. Nee, dat valt echt tegen. Dan
Dr. Pipo.
Dr. Pipo, inderdaad.
Ja.
Ga je nog iets speciaals doen om het te vieren, Ruben?
Nee, ik wil toch, mijn missie is om toch aan een katertem morgen. En voor de rest zijn mijn ambities redelijk beperkt, maar wel heel haalbaar.
Mooi, dat hebben we er toch uit geleerd.
Wijze woorden.
Ja.
Ik denk dat ik het gevonden heb.
Wat ga je bestellen?
Ja, wat ga je eten?
Burgers, denk ik.
Wat zwijgt, jong.
Sorry Peter, maar kan ik wel vragen als die met een scooter kan rijden of als ze willen doorrijden?
Lieven! Hey! I don't hear anything. Yeah, je mic is off.
Past dat nog in een bingo?
How many engineers do you need? For I know I hear you guys. Lieven, show me your hair. That's really wrong. Is that your hair or?
Ruben, weet je weg, was even de honger, dus we beginnen een beetje te roepen. Maar nog een keer een dikke proficiat en 4 dag goed en we drinken nog een
Voilà. Hij is sowieso een beetje aan afronden. Suzanne. Lieven, how are you doing? Oh, you don't have any microphone.
Can you hear us?
Yeah,
yes,
now we can. Now we
can. Can you hear us? Wonderful. So it takes 2 engineers.
Okay. How's life?
Quite boring. Sitting at home, working.
Is that a meter between you guys, or?
Oh, I had to meet Micha. I had to celebrate.
Okay.
Staying at home for 5-6 weeks. Good presentation, by the way. That was nice.
Thanks.
Really good.
Thanks.
It's unfortunate that we cannot celebrate tonight.
Yeah, exactly. But I will be back in Berlin soon. And thanks for making some of the videos and images for the presentation as well, Lieven.
You're welcome.
Which I just told.
Yeah, let us know when you're back in Berlin, and maybe through the weekend.
Maybe. Probably. Probably I'll add a weekend to it.
Cool.
No, but it's been really it was really fun working with you guys too.
It was quite a time, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah. And it's been a long time ago actually.
Yes.
I came to your office in 2013. 7 years before the Corona year.
Yeah, true that. Oh boy. Yeah. And now it's done. You did it, man.
Done. Happy about it. But
now follow the next step.
Millionaire.
Millionaire. Yeah,
No, actually just getting back to normal pay would be nice. Still living the startup life. But yeah, baby steps.
So I think we also get off now. Then you guys can switch from English and all the other different languages back to your native language, and have to take care about that.
Okay.
Have a nice evening. Yep. Yes, congratulations again.
Congratulations. See you guys.
We're looking forward to see you back in Berlin.
All right. See you.
Bye.
Er wel geen vrouwelijke vragen gekomen, Ruben?
Geen wat? Wie zegt er iets?
Geen vrouwelijke vragen. Hoor je mij?
PJ.
Ah, PJ. Ah nee, wacht. Wie zit er? Ah, Maxime. Sorry.
Oh, dat is dan wel allemaal een koekenrol.
Dat is geen
vrouw. Maar mijn micro gaat niet... PJ looking good.
Ja.
Hij ziet er heel relaxed uit, PJ.
Proficiat, Dr. Colonel.
Dankjewel, PJ.
Ja, ze blondeert.
Ziet er ook gewoon opgekleed voor de officiële receptie.
Ja,
de laatste 15, het is afvalreis nu.
Ja, 15. Wie is de beste vriend?
Ja. Of wie heeft het meest tijd?
Of wie heeft er het minst honger? Ik had het dan toch ook...
Ik heb mijn eten besteld.
Je kan dit, Connie.
Ja, bedankt daarvoor. Ik denk dat ik ook een fastfood maaltijd uit de frigo ga snacken, denk ik. Enfin, kijk, ik ga er laten. Ruben, nog een keer een dikke proficiat, man.
Ja.
En sowieso moeten we een keer een real-life physical een redo of zeker van het conceptiegedeelte een keer op poten zetten. Hè?
Ja, sowieso. Nou,
ja, dus niet die PowerPoint nog niet.
Nee, de PowerPoint begraaf ik.
Ik besef dat nu dat het waarschijnlijk raar overkomt, want het is hier op mijn second screen. Dat is weg van de camera. Maar kijk dus wel naar jou.
Ja.
Ik noem mijn vrouw die daar staat of zoiets.
Ja, sowieso doen we het na de corona.
Ja, alright.
Dat wordt gewoon.
Wat zeg je?
Is dat waar je woont?
Hoe bedoel je?
Is dat professorswoning?
Ja, dat is hier mijn achtergesteld gebied, zodat ik hier een bureau geïmproviseerde.
Ja, wat is een professorswoning? Ik heb wel zo'n interesse.
Nee, ik had ooit
je moet geld tonen, hè, jongen.
Ik had ooit een romantisch idee als je het verschopt in de academische wereld, dat je dan een klein kasteel ging krijgen. Maar ik twijfel.
Nee.
Glen heeft wel een oprijlaan van 200 meter of zo. Dus dat telt ook al als een kasteel. Hè.
Zeg, heb je gedoctoreerd?
Ja.
Proficiat?
Dankjewel.
Zalig. Is het café? Café Ruben?
Het is Café Ruben, Café Dr. Ruben.
Ah, sexy.
Dr. Colonel.
Je kent de inside jokes nog niet.
Nee, we willen niet mee.
Wat een lach sowieso.
Kijk, ga je door.
Goed. Ja.
Heb je al gesmost op je t-shirt?
Ik?
Ja?
Nee, het is een logotje. Het is geen...
Ja.
Het is ook al op, dus al niet meer mooi.
Goed, bedankt door. Ruben, veel plezier nog.
Ja, sorry.
Tot in deze. Hè.
In deze.
Lucas?
Ja, ik denk dat we misschien in het algemeen wel kunnen afronden.
Ruben?
Ja?
Allemaal?
Wat jij ook iets?
I'm also going to leave now, okay?
Alright,
and,
that's fine.
Congratulations, yeah?
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see each other soon, right?
Hopefully. Hey, by the way, when's your wedding?
What?
When's your wedding?
I'll let you know when it happens. Don't worry.
Okay. I'm still waiting here.
Yeah, and I think Batis is also there, but I can't really see him. I can see like Wout and
I'm
only
here.
you. And so yeah. Yeah, okay, Batis, bye bye. Right?
See you, man.
And see you soon as well.
I see.
Everybody.
Bye.
Have fun. Bye.
Ja. Goed. Nee, ik denk dat ik het café ga sluiten.
Hallo!
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Een laatste call gedaan.
Last call.
Doe deze er al.
Pling, pling, pling.
Je hebt de koppijn van al het praten misschien.
Ja, maar het is ook wel nog moeilijk omdat je ook zo ja, like zo een talkshow host moet zijn ook.
Ja, dat is wel waar.
Of ben je dat plannen van
zo'n momentjes dat je moet volgen, is wel echt vermoeiend.
Ja, en zeker op een moment voor, en heel tijd mensen muten. Zoals mijn pa om de 2 minuten. En dan hoor ik hem zo.
Die was grappig.
En dan wil ik zeggen, ja, die maar die knop zo automatiseerd de hele tijd.
Ik vond dat wel interessant.
Geen, zeggen ze. Was hij hem al, heb je dat juist gezien dat hij hem overwege een ijscream genomen heeft?
Wat?
Afleiding naar Mieke, waar begon toen nog tegen? Ik vond dat anders dan?
Ja, dat heb ik. Het is net gepleerd geweest, het is net de tieners, dus dat kan wel.
Ah, oké. Dat is half in beeld.
Maar ik dacht dat hij daar opeens met zo'n e-book net zat. Had je hem hier opeens niet in zo'n frisco vast, of heb je dat verkeerd gezien?
Ik heb dat niet gezien.
Oké, misschien heb ik dat ook wel verkeerd gezien. Maar was het deze? Sorry. Nee, ik heb
gewoon een kernel vast, hè?
Wat, een kernel vast?
Je had gewoon een kernel vast, een bruine kernel.
Een kernel.
Ja goed, ik ga ook vertrekken. Ik wou je nog een keer merci zeggen, Ruben, voor de goede begeleiding tijdens mijn masterproef. Zeker, het was een moeilijke periode voor mij. En het mij daar echt keihard doorgesleurd. Ik weet niet hoe dat je het gedaan hebt, maar ik keek enorm naar u op. Dus ja, ook als persoon, als begeleider, zijn je heel waardevol. Merci daarvoor.
Hij is al aan het vliegen, hè. Stop.
Ik weet niet, laat maar komen. Nee, maar ik gooi ook, je wordt de leukste student dat ik gehad heb. Naast Martijn natuurlijk.
Dank u.
Martijn is Koreaan, hè. Dus dat is al een andere categorie.
PG.
PG. Stay classy.
Een blik kunnen wij mij eigen klas.
Goed, salutjes.
Salutjes.
Bye.
Kari. Als er minder volk is, durf dat wel een keer doen.
Ja, oké. En dan...
So we're still doing the party, Billy and Ruben, PG party.
PG party, yeah.
One or so.
Yeah, we should, huh? Bazilis, you're muted.
Once you can, definitely gonna be worth a party.
The one we're planning for the beginning of February.
Yeah.
I thought like when people when people told me that like PhD takes 4 years, I was like, I'm gonna do it in 3 years. So having one part should have an 8. So, I think that postponing a party with 1 year is fine. Yeah, and like we normally say, only 1 in 3 PhD students make it, and yeah, we all treat it, so not bad.
Nailed it. Nailed it.
Statistics are looking bad for me.
Goed. Dit zou een keer gaan afronden.
Oké.
Ik wil niemand buiten. Nee, als er nou iemand iets moet hebben, ze stel voor de buren om de onderstrepen.
Te doen.
Ja, maar dat kan. Ik ben al heel net bezig, hè, man. Dus ik denk niet dat John Oliver het ook doet voor het hobby. Nu.
Okay, see you later then, in that case.
Gelukkig.
Bye.
Ciao.
Official.
Iemand
We gaan allemaal weg. Sorry. Ik heb de laptop van je mama. Ik heb de laptop.
eten nu aan eten.
Ja, dat is honger, is dat?
Ja, de oorgang.
Als jij geen honger hebt, hè, Annelore?
Dat zijn er niet veel meer, hè.
Waarom?
Ja, ze zijn allemaal gaan eten.
Heb jij geen honger, Annelore?
Ja, ze zijn al gegeten. Je kan altijd eten.
Dan kan iedereen nu terugkomen, want ze heeft gegeten.
Waarom is ze een avonddoel?
Smakelijk, zus.
Sorry, Hannelore, maar ik denk dat ja. Ik zie je morgen even de laptop terugkomt bij.
Waarom heb je een baguette?
Dat was tegen u. Die geen baguette.
Maar ik heb nog geen baguette.
Ken je het goed, man?
Ja.
Ah, dat ik een babetje aan heb.
Ja, Siska.
Ah, Siska.
Maar ik heb geen baguette.
Nee, maar je zou er eentje moeten aandoen als je soep eet, hè?
Ah, oké. Mama.
Om hoe? En heeft een baguette.
Voilà. Een baguette? Voilà, zie je? Een baguette.
Praten.
Mag je nu soep eten?
Ja, nee.
Goed gedaan, Glenn. Goed gedaan.
Het gaat steeds aan Siska opvoeden.
Ja, vraag het eens aan.
Hij nog eten?
Ja, hè? Het is soep. Thaise soep.
Lekker.
Maar ga ik nog eten?
En dan ga ik patatjes met hamburgers eten. Dat past mooi, hè? Thaise soep en dan patatjes met hamburgers.
Dat is nog wel grappig, dat is dat intern gedoe. Dan was ineens eerst te komen tegen het einde. Ja, ik heb ook een vraag gekregen van Martijn. Ik kreeg al een klein paniekje. Ik denk, wat gaat hem nu doen? Dat moet nog even iets zeggen. Ik had me al verwacht als een lange speech of zo. Ik denk,
Ja, maar ik vind het wel wijs. Ik weet het niet. Dat is zo, ik heb nu ook al iets langer een dankwoord gedaan dan normaal gebeurt ook bij een ingenieursdoctoraatsverdediging. Maar als het dan zo'n bij de sociologie gaat of het een of ander, of bij andere sociale wetenschappers en die TG's, dat zijn hulpbuien, presentaties over heel je leven, whatnot. Ik vind dat bij de ingenieurs ook wel een beetje mogen brengen. Het is meer dat werkt alleen.
Het is ook leiders, hè. Dus
ja.
Er is naar een doctoraatsverdediging geweest bij de fysica en dat was niet gelovend. Die zei vlak af in verbloemende taal, ik ben blij dat ik er nu vanaf ben.
Ik had moeten zeggen in mijn laatste slide en toen dacht ik zo wel van, ik hoop dat dat gewoon komt. Ik zei het van, ik hoop dat dit ook de laatste keer is dat ik dit moet presenteren.
Ja, toen dacht ik ook zo even van,
Dat heb misschien wel gedemotiveerd, maar alles teniet gedaan.
Wow, zo streng zijn ze niet.
Maar je zit zo opeens op je laatste slide en opeens is er iets van, dit is mijn laatste slide, het is gedaan. En dan heb je nog 3 slides erachteraf. En dan moet je door gereisd ben.
Ruben, ik ga je laten, want de lijst sluit hier al om 7:30 en dan heb ik geen eten meer vanavond. Dus,
Ik ga ook
echt cool, en café ook.
Oké, maar ik ga het gewoon allemaal doen.
Ja.
Zijn er zeker?
Hier hangen aan iedereen, hè.
No, you first.
Bye.
Niet vanavond, hè. En van je titel.
Salut!
Bye bye.
Bye.